Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
As I always said, Earth is a nursery where it creates that seed, that bulb, and it takes you buy it, and then you plant it, you water it, and then it gives you that flower. I was in Amsterdam this few days for World of the Keshe Foundation, and I love Amsterdam because it doesn't matter, whenever you pass through the airport, they have tulips. And people from all over the world going through Amsterdam buy these onions or the tulips to take it to their nation, or to their country, or to their home, doesn't matter. And Earth is that flower shop. Is that nursery where the flower shop gets its flowers and its onions. It's a seed where it plants the seed of the soul of the man, which needs that little ignition to start a cycle. As I said in the past, to get to feel the strength to come together in the space takes billions of years, and especially for them to become a plasma, where now the soul of the man, through the life of the man, 50, 60, 100 years on this planet, creates that seed. Now you just need to let it loose, and then those fields in the universe which were coming to become the seed of this something to start, already have the onions, or what we call the seed of the soul, for it to grow. If you go to Scotland, they do what we call shrimp seeds, 1-day shrimp or 3-day shrimp. The people who are in the shrimp world, they go to Scotland and they buy 1-day-old shrimp, and they take it to Africa, and then they let it grow. Where in Africa, for them to grow that, there is no facilities. So it's the same. The universe has the earth as the seed for that to be faster to create the next generation. You have to understand the light of, the knowledge of, the essence of the creation of the Creator is so fast, and is so fast in its vastness, that it needs it to find a point of control, amalgamation, and creation. And the soul of man is that greenhouse. Sometimes when I hear the scientists talk about the greenhouse effect and the earth is getting hotter or whatever, I laugh. I said, God created this greenhouse to create the soul of the man. What the hell are these people talking about? So this is why when you build a greenhouse, when you put the flowers and the plants in it, you go and check to see how beautiful they are, how they are growing. If there is any infection, if there is any diseases, you correct it. And this greenhouse called Earth gets visited by the Creator to see what it needs to be done, how it needs to be corrected, how you get the disease of killing and everything else out of the man. And then he sends what we call the gardeners, the teachers, to polish it, to perfect it, that goes out as a perfect seed. And that's our job. So the earth is that nursery. And the Creator loves this nursery because it was created by Mitra. And is looked after by his love and needed to be corrected and be perfected. And now it reaches that point which reflects his true essence of love. When you buy a flower from a florist, you will feed two things. If he sells you a flower he bought from a market, a plant, he just gives it to you. But if it's a plant which he grew and he sells it to you, he gives you love, information, and love about that because it's part of him. So it's the same with the man. The soul created on this planet is done, touched by the love of Mitra, and God has hand in it. And he has to be perfect. So when it goes out in the universe, it becomes a perfect tulips. And one lip of Creator and one lip of Mitra. When they kiss, it creates a new life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 471st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 9th, 2023. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host today. And we are hosting Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation. And as per usual in these weekly series of workshops, he will be doing the presentation. And I think he's eager to go. So hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you there?
Yes. Good morning to you, as usual, wherever and whenever. You listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation and Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back, and we hope we share more knowledge as we've done in the past weeks in what we set up in the recent weeks, speaking about cosmic and cosmic rays, and then them seeding and becoming the source of the radiation of the fields of the creation of the cycle of life, or them themselves coming from the essence of the source of the creator, becoming another seed with the love and care to grow. In the past few weeks, as we went through understanding the cosmic ray, understanding how the seed of life is, the intro brings us exactly to what the knowledge sharing of today will be. We talked about the seed, we talked about plasma energy essence. What happens to the soul of the man? And how the soul will move on. Where does it come to? How will expand? How life is created. And as I always said, when you have something you don't understand in macro, you go to micro. And when you don't understand something on the other side, you look to the other side to see the similarity, to understand what you cannot see or is too big for you to understand, you bring it to a smaller size to become comprehensible. How we comprehend and how this comprehension leads us to evolution of science within us. We understand a lot of things, but we can never explain to the others, and then we use it in our own way. And maybe we teach it to our children or some friends, and then the knowledge dies because the knowledge was not shared totally. Today's communication world has changed a lot of things. We get access to a lot. We hear the voice. We call it television. We see the vision. But the new cycle of communication has come into operation, where we don't rely on the man-made systems of development and understanding. Now we make systems to understand the way the creator talks. We are developing technologies to understand the way the creation talks, communicates. We call it a dream. We call it I had a vision. We call it I had a voice, the voice of my soul, the voice of my soul in communication with the others. There cannot be a voice if there is not another point. There cannot be life without another. In the life of creation, in the life of the process of existence, we have created many words for the same process. We have a sun, and our sun has a twin. We call it twin souls. But in fact, how does this trinity come? Where does it start? Where do we see the separation? How life creates itself in a space. Once, as we said, you took that onions from Amsterdam and you took it and you seeded it. What happened to a wheat? When we grow, we put a seed in and it grows. Where is its identity? Where does it go, and how do we follow it? What do we understand? What have we missed in the world of macro or in the world of micro? In the world of creation, we take a seed, we plant it on the planet Earth positions, and then we go further. What do we do with it? We water it. We look after it. We bring it to the point of working by itself, and we leave it. How? Where does it get energy from? We take a seed, we plant it on the earth, and in a way, we just water it. What does it do? Some of it, all we noticed, according to the man's life, has been very much like this. If you're observant, we see some leaves and some trunks. And when we uproot it, we see roots. But in 5 years, in 10 years down the line, what we miss is we don't see the seed anymore. The seed is gone. But what we see is, in fact, the life of totality. What happened to this? is, in fact, we don't see the seed anymore. We don't see where it came from. We brought the seed from totally different position and we planted it. This is how life of the man in a space is. We bring the seed, the soul of the man from earth, which finds its position by feel the strength of itself, and it becomes in the point of creation. Somewhere in the space of the universe or unicos, it finds a place where its strength dictated, preset it to be a position for it to grow. You put a seed in the ground in autumn, but you don't see anything till it comes to spring, when the temperature is right, when everything else for it is available, that it grows. So is the soul of the man. The soul of the man created, finding its position, sits and waits till the right condition, the right fields of the universe reaches it. To you, you don't have a patience for half an hour or 10 minutes, but your soul sits for millions of years, giving and taking from its environment till it's time for it to nourish. And then what do we see? We don't see a soul on its own to become a star. It has a process. It has the same characteristics as what you see with the planet. Why the vertical people are the same as the soul of the man in space, maybe you understand today. It receives fields from the universe. It becomes its roots. And in that point, in that essence, in that time, it starts growing. It starts showing the sign. But again, you have two levels. What happens to you? What happens and what goes on is very interesting. Then there is a point of separation. In a way, we do not see anymore the seed anymore. We don't find its essence. But what do we see? Fields with the interaction within the world of the creation that lead to creation of one set, giving some, taking some, a new life. Two new lives in two different directions. Exactly what we saw with the seed. But in the world of the creation, the vertical people, we still see this little stem, this trunk of a tree. In the world of creation, we see the connection in the dimension of the magnetic fields. In the world of creation, you call it Trinity. But all started from that seed. There is no difference in the world of creation to be a vertical or to be a soul of the man in the space. Needs that balance, need a source to absorb and give some, and needs a source to give and absorb some. And we'll see the light. This brings us to one of the most fundamental things which I've referred to many times and knowledge seekers are blind to. What happened to you when you get that magnet? You've been told that the fields coming from the South Pole and the fields will go through the North Pole. But is this true? A magnet has no choice in where it fields connect to what it twins with, as we chose the condition of twinity with another magnet. But in essence, in both ways, And that field receives as much as it gives. A tree, when you plant it, that apple is the fruit of the tree. It's the same with the world of creation of the soul of the man. That apple is your children. The fruit of life in the cycle of life of the soul of the man. Now we understand. If man is to conquer the space, if man is there to conquer the universe, but conquering means have the ability to feel it, has the ability to go to it and enjoy the beauty of the creation, man has to understand these points. Otherwise, you're again that seed. You're again that space of fields which has no, what we call target, has no destiny. You create that destiny. If the creation of that destiny, that destination of where you want to be, is so real to you that you can detach from the rest of the fields of the universe, you'll achieve that. You come there. If you understood what's on the screen, you understand the process of the travel of the man in the universe in the coming time. You do not need the systems which we produce. These are just the tools for you to show the capability, the beauty of your existence. You do not know what your soul possesses. It has all the knowledge, but the fear of physicality brings man to that point. What do you understand from this? How can you evolve from this point of knowledge to the next? That makes man a traveler of the universe without containment, without UFOs, without aircrafts. Then, when we brought you, for example, into the 20th of January session, and now we bring you back into the 19th of February session, what can you do with it? You look to come into the 19th meeting to eat something, to get food. You're again physical. The purpose of the 19th meeting is to show you how you feed from your own soul, how you use the fruit of your soul to create that seed for being somewhere. It's not for you that you don't eat any more fruits or vegetables or meat. You again look at the dimension of the physicality, where our work, our knowledge sharing, is how to feed your soul in a space, how to move that seed, how to bring it to the position of maturity of understanding. Yesterday in our flight test with our volunteers, we always tell you, you've been to the center in Linz and you've been on the 2 or 3 excursions as a group with me. I left it to the knowledge seeker. We usually tell you, now it's time to go, try to move, come to Linz, do this and that. Yesterday, flight test was as simple as what you see on the table. We prepare the environment for you. You try to get to Linz from United States. To see, it's like a test, to see you taught so much. What's the maturity? What answers you get? Where you see the pitfalls? What you need to do. When you're lost in a space or somewhere on the moon, I cannot send you a system to get in it that I can transmute you. You already carry the system inside you. All I need is to show you, come here. This is where the light is. It's like Earth. Our system is like that. Lighthouse just shines to show you where the coast is, where you can home into. It's that beacon. And then when you learn to travel in space without our beacon, then you understand how it should be. Don't take to give, to be able to understand the position, to gain position in favor of the others to be served and not you. So when we teach you about the space travel in the coming time, just look at something else. Now you are on moon and you want to come to Earth. Sorry, we saw the disaster of Turkey this week. My condolences to all the Turkish, Syrians, and the Kurdish who were lost life and are in trouble. But what do? You're stranded on moon because your beacon in Turkey was destroyed by the earthquake. You're abandoned. Or you have gained the knowledge from the soul of the seed and seed of the soul. What do? How do you transmute yourself? You have come to a black spot. There is no line of communication, but you want to get out of it. You lost your beacon. You don't know where to go. How do you travel? How do you grow? How do you bring yourself back home? How do you go from United States to Linz? This is all the purposes of what we call these sessions of Monday. Growing you, letting you grow month by month to come to it. Where do you send that seed for it to flourish? And then you can yourself show yourself in it, with it. There is a very big question which will come into the philosophy of the travel in space through the soul of the man. The soul you left on Earth to reach the moon, is it the same soul? Or does it have the attributes of the soul which left Earth? Is it that seed that you plant and then it grows to give a fruit? Is the fruit the seed? Or in the process of the travel has absorbed, given and taken and arrives as a new soul on Earth? There is no control. But how do you get it to Earth? How do you envisage to be somewhere where you've never been before? You leave New York to be in a specific street in London. You cannot end up on a street in Paris. You have no job there to do. You made an appointment with your brother to meet him on Oxford Street in London. How do you find him? Nowadays, you have a GPS. What's the GPS of your soul? You've never been to London. How do you bring yourself to the point to go to different points of the universe which you've never been before, but you know exist? How do you send that seed, the way we saw, to the position to be there? Can you predetermine the position of your soul prior to departure from your physicality at the point of death? Or you bought and you be planted somewhere, God knows where. Can you decide your soul to be the seed of a galaxy Can you decide your soul to be the seed of a star, or can you decide your soul to be the seed for another universe, part of a universe? So, how do you do? How do you travel from moon to earth? How do you get from New York to London standing next to your brother? There are no aircrafts, and there is no landing strip across Oxford Street in London. And if you come with too much energy, there are the other souls and physicalities that you can damage. How do you find that little space gap that you can fit in next to your brother? Now you understand how much more knowledge is to be shared in coming weeks and months. Yesterday, with our knowledge seeker, I just said, we prepared everything for you. The landing ground, the facilities in Linz, in our backup in the lab, everything else. We give you 3 landing spaces, which we usually don't give you. You have 1 system to come in. Everything was prepared. If you don't land there, we have 2 landing strips on a standby. Did the knowledge seeker manage to get? Or did in that process learn where, how he has to guide himself to land on the main strip and not the 2 auxiliary points? It's like a father showing how to behave in society, and then you take the child into supermarket and let it loose, and you stand behind to see how the child behave. Would it come back to you, or would it go and explore and do whatever it likes and come back in a good shape? This is what we started to do. The first child has been let loose for it to learn, because we have prepared everything. How do you go there? How do you get yourself from New York into Oxford Street? I gave you your brother. You have a seed of love in common, the essence of creation, the desire to be again together. You're on moon, and you have the desire to be on earth. You're Turkish. You want to be at the point of the disaster because your mother, your brother, and your loved ones are in the area. To see the physical, as you know, the soul is there in perfection. How do you transmute yourself from the moon to earth? How do you bring that point of life? How do you dream about your mother in sleep? Do you see her waking you up? I'm here. Does she come and nudge you? Come on, I want to talk. Or do you just envisage the mother and the beauty of sharing time with? You send that little ambassador to see if the fields of connections are there, and if the common grounds of the fields you have with the mother is there, we talk. Have you ever asked yourself, why do we envisage the mother? The hair, the eyes, the face, the anger, the joy, the touch. I made man in the image of myself. If man in his brain has the dimension, the strength to feel, to touch, the smell, the joy, the cry, the shout, so should be the same in the plasma of the soul of the man. Man has not come to understand the emotion of the soul. Then, do you need the dimension of the physicality to feel it? Or is the brain of the man an enigma, machine that we have to build the same to be able to decode the plasma communication in a physical dimension, that we know this is the mother and this is the breakfast and this is the touch and the smell of the mother? But the strangest thing for you to ask, because you never ask in your dream, does the soul of the mother the smells and touch and the feel of you? Does she have understanding of a sense of love you give her? Or does she feel all that in the strength of the field of the soul of the man, as she has no physical dimension? Now you understand. The knowledge to be shared is much deeper. But man is not ready to understand. Man has accepted physicality than in the dimension of understanding the soul of the man. But the question comes, how do we get the guy from New York on Oxford Street standing next to the brother? How do we get a man on the moon back? Or does he get himself back? It goes back to the story of the last man standing. As a soul, you're the last man standing. And it's you who has to find his stand anywhere which he decides. I want to go, but I don't really want to go. I have a fear if I come back, if I can come back. We give the tools. We make the tools for you to start testing and gaining confidence and building a process that suits you, where you want to be, how you want to, without the fear that I can lose the dimension of physicality. What I carry and how I carry it, what makes the essence of my creation, that it creates its own, what you call frequency, that this is my frequency, this is my strength, and this is what you call my bandwidth of the field strength of my soul. Today, in the world of the man, we give location. We used to give villages, and people come to the village and ask, do you know where such a person lives? They tell you somewhere, that's the house. We became more sophisticated, we numbered the houses. Then we made what we call zip for it. In the new modern life cycle of man, we have GPS location, altitude, blah, 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 that you end up within a few centimeters from a given spot. And sometimes the machine makes a mistake and drops you in the middle of the river by mistake. But most of the time, you end up in a position where it's predestined. How do you find the GPS of your plasma of your soul? And how do you know the GPS on Oxford Street in the dimension of the strength of the soul? If man limits itself only to travel on earth, now that it's learned about the soul, its capability to allow it to move, what have we come here for? To keep a soul-educated village of the earth? Or for man to excursion, taking time to see, to take the knowledge to the rest of the universe, to teach the same, to plant that seed. This time is the seed of knowledge of the universe, and not the seed of the soul of the man. To grow, to share, to expand the universe and the universe. When I finished with the session last night, I said goodbye. How did you feel? How many of you on the 19th will be able to use that fruit, that food of the universe, to travel the first time the span of universe? Those of you who come in on the 19th, be prepared for one of the most amazing trips, routes of your life. It'll be taught, and it's for you to expand it. We give you that room to jump on the trampoline of the universe, but we put a net around it that you don't fall off the trampoline. You're still with us. Those of you who come in for the 19th, you will feel one of the most amazing sensations that the whole universe has been waiting for. Not to tap in, to dine with the Creator, to tap in, to be able to have food to dine with. Don't go empty-handed on your own to the table. Many of you will start sharing that knowledge within the solar structure that gives you that twinity, that point that you have a reference. In a way, we are creating a position for many of you to gain confidence that you receive the food of the knowledge and not the food not to go hunger in the dimension of the man. The knowledge of the travel in the space, the knowledge of the confidence to be able to feed yourself in the space, but still create a dimension of existence anywhere in the universe. The process, the understanding, the seed to be is what man has not understood up to now. The seed we saw which was planted on the ground to grow, or in the universe as your soul, is when you have no choice, you have left the physicality, you have no dimension of physicality. But what about when you have that dimension of physicality, you have a backpack you have to carry? It's called the soul of physicality of the man, to give it a dimension of physicality. At the point of death, you have discarded the backpack because you think you got enough that you can make your own backpack when you arrive at a point and destination, and you have had no say up to now where you're going to go. The Creator decides the position of my soul. The Creator decides the fields of the universe where the balance will be for me. In the time of life, now if you understand the knowledge in the coming time, you decide where that seed will be. You choose the home for it. And not accidents and coincidence of the universe magnetic field. You decide when you leave that backpack behind, and not 60 or 80 years or a car accident on the road. The whole purpose of the teaching in past few weeks has been, when we speak about the soul, we speak about the cosmic ray, is how to get your soul on the line of the cosmic rays to be able to reach another point to start that seed. Now you understand why I've been saying so many times, suicide is forbidden. As with man's knowledge, you can decide when to release that backpack, as you have already predestined the position of it to come. As you've taken everything out of the backpack, which you need to survive, to start a new life, new condition, to create the new fruits of life in the universe. When you die in the physicality, your body doesn't disappear. It becomes nourishment and food for the next cycle. What happened when you go into space? It's the same. The collapse, the death of stars and galaxies is that point that you had in the dimension of physicality. The energies they release become the food, essence of energy for the soul of those who are waiting for it to come as nourishment for them to grow. So the cycle of life never finishes in the universe. We're just in another process and dimension. But the structure, the system is the same. Be it the seed planted in the soil of the earth, or the seed as a soul of the man in the universe for next generation of the tree of life. You cannot have a tree if you don't have a root. The tree doesn't exist if there are no leaves and branches. Both have to exist, the Trinity. In the world of the creation, we always see the tree and its roots, the soul of the man and the soul of physicality. And the same dimension is in the world of the creation. The tools, the systems, the machinery we are developing and extending is for you to be able to test drive your soul and gain enough confidence that you can become a solo driver on your own in what we call cosmic threads of the universe without crashing into anyone. The process of the knowledge, the process of understanding the whole structure becomes the next step for us to teach you in a way to show what needs to be done. Many of you came to Linz. We set your soul in a system and we created the condition of the fields that allow your soul to expand, to pass beyond the dimension of your physicality. And we got you out of your brain. And now this has become your new dimension. Now that you're free, you connect, you become a fish, you connect, you go to another planet. And if we tell you, can you go to the moon? You tell us you've been to the moon. In the teaching of the 20th of January, we showed you how to carry out this expansion. But we had to give you a carrot to feed it, and that carrot was your profit. That you could feel in the interaction, the light of interaction with them. So if you saw a light, if you felt the dimension of it, not the same day, the day after, or the week after, now you learn how to expand. On the 19th, we teach you how to take that seed. and feed it from the love of man and the field of the universe. Because this is important. This seed you send out, as you think you're there to eat, but in fact you're there to create a connection, how to eat, how to get in touch with the field of the universe that it can feed you. This becomes the point of man to go from the moon to earth. You send a trickle. And where the love of the brother is, then it becomes your GPS. Now you understand. Now you should be able to comprehend what is to come. Our system in Linz is that little twinkle. Why do you think we asked you to come from all four corners of the universe, planet, to be here? We saw people from Canada, we saw people from Africa, we saw people from China, we saw people from Europe. Different races and cultures to bring that center point. As I said, we had people, passengers of the universe with us. And now, and that is that point of reference for all. From America, come to Linz. From Australia, come to Linz. From anywhere, culture, religion, which you have a point of belief, which is part of your soul, which is deposited with us, brings you here. But one thing you forgot. The ones who brought, they traveled back to different places. Now you have access to all. Those who are the passengers of the universe with us, they traveled back. We open the passage to the man, into the universe. Because in their travels, they have passages to others and others. So on the 20th, you actually became the traveler of the universe. On the 16th of December, we opened the first line because we let you go all the way from man to your prophets to the creator, which in essence of totality, the Unicos. That's why I said on the 16th of December, man became part of the universal community. Not all 160 plus people on the line were the citizens of this planet. That, like you, they're trying to find a way home. But they forgot the way to do it and how to do it. And it's the same for all of you. The systems we are developing is not for you to come from America to Linz or to go from New York to Oxford Street in London. It's for you to learn how to send the seed of your soul with the guarantee of understanding nothing will happen to me, and I'll be there. And the beauty of it is that you can send these seeds to thousands of places at the same time, as time does not exist till you decide the existence of time. Your time with your brother does not start till you actually arrive. At the time, the point and destination. And would you tell your brother, if you see a fly on your shoulder, is me? If you see a frog on the street, that's me? Or I'll appear in my own essence of how you remember me in a physical dimension to point of your vision. Your brother sees you as a brother. The guy standing next to you sees you as a fly. The others don't even observe you because you have no field of strength in the dimension of the interaction. Have you ever played the game with your children where you jump up and down and says, I'm here. And they say, Mama, I'm here. And says, I can't see you. I'm here, but I can't see you. I can't see you. Where are you? And the child is hanging to your trousers. I'm here, Papa. And then say, oh, there you are. In essence, man has reached a point of understanding to travel with the dimension of energies of the what we call magnetic fields of the universe, as we call cosmic rays, than in a car, a plane, or a donkey. And the beauty of it is, for many of you in a coming time, is how you appear on the other side. When you travel from New York to London, you change your clothes to fit. It was nice and warm in New York. London is cold. You get a jacket. You get a jumper. How would you appear in London in the dimension of the soul? Where do you change? Where do you get your jumper and jacket from? Or does your brother sees you in the dimension of physicality, or in the dimension of physicality you frog yourself to what it suits? Would you take a fur coat with nothing on? But where do you get that fur coat? Or to create the vision, the what we call mirage of a fur coat, and nothing underneath. Very much as the British say, fur coats and no knickers. In essence, inside that fur coat is the soul of the man. And how do you carry it in the dimension of physicality? You thought the knowledge seeking has finished. You haven't even stepped on the first step of the knowledge of the creation. We're just trying to show you where the first step could be if you learn to walk. Now you understand where the teaching goes. Now you understand the essence of creation. Now you understand how you should travel. Now you understand when you travel without the backpack of the physicality of the man, where your destination is. To become that seed in the cycle of the life of the universe, to create a trinity of life that one takes and one gives, and in that process you receive balanced energies. That guarantees the existence. Those of you who join me on the 19th, be prepared to truly dine with the Creator. And I hope we don't get those knowledge seekers, I felt nothing. Because in the dimension of physicality, you feel nothing. But in the dimension of soul, you get educated to be ready to become the traveler of the universe. Remember, on the 16th of December, how much noise was going on in the background, how many people were coughing, moving chairs and talking, and the cock was singing, and the mosque was saying the azan and everything else. Did that stop you as a whole to become one, to reach the soul of the Creator? No. So, what you carry in the dimension of physicality, a doctor, a professor, a layman, wearing a fur coat in your bikini, does not count, because the soul leaves everything behind. The journey on the 19th will be one of the most amazing opening eyes for the next step, which we bring in March. In March, we create the fundamental basis to meet the world leaders, one by one, and bring that essence of a spring, that beginning of the change for humanity, irrespective of color, race, and religion. If you do not know how to see that plant, learning it how to do it on the 19th and the 20th, how do you want to do it to seed the seed of peace in the soul of the world leaders to create that process? How do you create that apple of peace that the world leaders take a bite at it? This is part of the structure. We create the facilities in the background. We create the mechanism through LINS and our laboratories to create that position that you can meet. Reference point on Oxford Street, we're going to have a party. Reference in LINS, we are going to have a party of the souls who come together to sow the seed, the knowledge, the fruits of peace for the start of the cycle in March. Sit with the world leader soul and see that what you learn you give without condition in February, in the start of the process of world peace. Now it's you who has to learn to bring that change, and not for us. We brought everything on the table of party to enjoy, to start the process. And it's for you as a humans to start that seeding. It's not with us anymore. You run the party. You decide where it goes. Make a peaceful man out of the soul of your leaders to create that condition of world peace. Some of you tested with your prophets and you saw the light. Some of you tested with yourselves and you felt nothing because the soul was much stronger in attachment to the physicality. Now you have to try. Now we start the process. Now we bring you that condition. We are here to nourish the soul of the man and create facilities and systems for it to be. We are here to bring the conditions and systems for man to learn how to communicate through the soul of the man than the voice and the vision of the man. You got used to telephones and televisions. Now we created systems that you learn to communicate through the soul. And then you don't need us, because you will perfect that hearing and vision through your soul. But you have to understand, with the explanation of last week and this week and before, how your fields go. How do I want to be? Go back to the teaching, understanding. Why did we teach you about nanomaterials? What did we teach you about the gases? Why did we teach you about soul? Why did we teach you about cosmic rays? You became a cosmic ray. You want to establish, to start the seed of life, physicality anywhere in the universe. Did you understand why you made nanomaterials? Did you understand that you have to go a step down into the plasma of the GANs to become a nano, from it to become a matter, to create dimension of physicality? Now you can see the circle complete. It wasn't all going up. Why do we go to the soul? The mayhem we had. Why did he start this plasma GANs technology? And now why has he started the soul? And now why has he started cosmic rays? Now, go back to the other side of the cycle, at least in this cycle, because still after that cosmic ray and traveling the space, there's more knowledge of the travel which man is not aware of. In time we teach. You're blind to it, but it's part of your life. When I get to moon, how do I manifest myself? In the knowledge, in the essence of the knowledge you carry, in understanding a dimension of physicality, you have to create within you a twin soul. You call it the spirit. And then in the interaction of it, to allow it to expand, to create that plasma, you call the seed of the man. Converted, that it stands on its own as a nanostructure. And then within nanostructure, understanding interaction with environment to convert itself to physicality. Now you have learned, or at least you might understand, the two-way traffic with two roundabouts at either end. Which way do you want to turn? You go from the world of physicality into the world of the soul and energy and come back to the world of physicality. A trinity on its own. The same as the tree and its roots and its leaves. The same as the soul of the man creating a new dimension, universe. Now you have the knowledge to access both ways, to go from physicality to the soul and a dimension of universe, and travel yourself as mini soul in a new position and create a condition of physicality. Where, if you gain enough confidence, you can exist in both dimensions at the same time. The way you do today, your soul is within you and your physicality surrounds it. Now you learn to expand your soul beyond it with the physicality within it. The trinity never stops unless you decide. And that decision does not come in the dimension of the soul of the man alone. In the dimension of physicality, you die, you commit suicide. In the dimension of the soul, you cannot do this. You make your soul, what you gathered, available to the rest of the universe to take. They take your knowledge and everything else, and then you still become part of the totality. But you never die. Now you understand. And all these facilities we are making, all these communication, new systems we are developing and teaching you to use is actually to teach you this. Where you started in a dimension of physicality and we brought you to the soul, we use the cosmic rays to show you you can go both ways. I made man in the image of myself, as I am the man in the image of the Creator. As I created myself, as I lead to the creation of myself. Now we understand. We see a bigger picture, but we don't see all the picture. As I said before, the knowledge of the universe, up to now, what we have taught you, all these achievements of the man in dimensional matter, if you look at this whiteboard, it's not even that dot. There is so much more to learn in the knowledge of creation. And if that dot is the totality of the knowledge of the whole humanity in past millions of years brought you to this point, you can imagine you're not even nothing compared to the totality. not in the dimension of physicality, but in the dimension of the creation. The knowledge of creation. I hope I open your eyes into what to come. And I hope you understand how we are leading you to the world peace through your own actions as the leaders, and not those we think we see in the world of physical dimension lead us. Now you understand what we are heading for. Those of you knowledge seekers who've been with us and you traveled this dimension are those, if you understand collectively, will see the seed of the peace in the soul of the world leaders of today in a coming time. In a way, collectively, you bring that essence of knowledge of the teaching of the Keshe Foundation, the creation of world peace, not by talk, but now in the dimension of fields of the universe, by seeding it, by planting it and nourishing it within the soul of the world leaders of today. But that we have to teach you how it's done too. The way we explain how you can come from the moon to Earth. It was interesting to observe and watch how our knowledge seeker was trying to get outside and inside systems the lids. He did not fail. He just learned. He's on his own. He has to make that decision. He has to go through detachment. He did not look at the other tests we done. Before he stood out, and when it came to the time of the separation, to take off, to let go, he feels the separation of the souls, and then he feels the separation from the earth, but he panics and he holds on to a handle that it doesn't fall. This time we gave him a chair, that there is no fear of falling, but still needs that confidence, needs that extra knowledge that if I want to go, I have to leave a seat there for my physicality and the soul to carry through. But do I want to see my physicality there, or is just a visit with the soul is good enough? I'd bring the physicality next time. Let me gain the confidence. When you travel to a new space in universe, you don't get there and say, oh, sorry, I wanted to land on the dry land, I'm in the ocean, I get drowned, I didn't know how it is. You send a messenger ahead. You send a little Scott on in the front. See what it is. My soul, tell me, what am I going to see? Is this where I want to be, or would I like to test it? You have to learn all this. And then it comes back to us. Then it comes to the point of how well, as what we call knowledge seekers, we know ourselves and nothing else. We go through a break and we come back, and I hope we can expand more by questioning, by sharing knowledge to share more. Rick, if you could take us through a break and then we come back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
My screen up here. Okay, we're in the 471st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 9th. And we will take a short break with some messages and be back shortly.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.
Welcome back to our 471st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 9th, 2023. Mr. Kesh, are you ready to begin the second part of the program here?
Yes, ready, willing, I hope able to.
And do you want to take questions now, or do you have something else you'd like to say first, or how would you like to begin?
There are a couple of announcements which maybe, sorry about that, I've had a back cold for a few days. As we said for many of you, we have announced, and we announced today, that on Monday the 13th of February, Keshe Foundation will have a Blueprint Day. We start the session at 10 a.m. on Monday from our headquarters Vision Center in Linz, and we will unravel 2 new technologies. In a way, you both are aware of it, of both of them, but we will show what we call commercialization of a new type of what we call plasma energy units. These are not systems that to be. These you will see are commercialized, and in the presentation we show a new evolution in power supply. It's new development by the Keshe Foundation and stays within the Keshe Foundation, and the units are already manufactured and will be dispatched. As you will see, is not what we call showing up a technology, but showing commercialization of technology. And with it, for the first time on Monday, we will show you the new compact, what we call new communication system. And they should be ready by Monday. And I was told by our manufacturing side, large number of this already gone through and ready to be dispatched and completed in for delivery within even February and March. The new plasma unit, when you see it, you'll understand the change. And the new plasma power unit, which is going to be demonstrated on Monday, will bring a new, what we call, era in plasma technology. Don't look at it as what it gives you a reduction in electricity bill, but these are the new systems which will follow to create the new communication positions. In a way, the units you purchase It'll become part of the new communication and travel system. You are buying the first kit out of the structure of the kits to come, that when you put it together, solves different part or adds different part of the technology together. It's not just the energy unit, is part of what will become with additional units which will supply in a short time the feeding stations. It becomes the source for all sorts of things that you want to call it home kits. You know, that emergency kit you have with a red box with a white cross on it. In a way, will become this next processing of not needing to exist through the dimension of all the things which are around us. We have gone into mass production with this. It is now that we're going to deliver. You will see in the presentation, a large number of them will be on display. That it means it's gone into mass production. And it'll be delivered in the step-by-step, the two new systems. The following Monday, on the 20th, we will show another blueprint day, hopefully, with two new systems. One of them is a revolutionary, total evolution in the science, and it will change the world of electronics, will change the world of energy and communication. Very simple, very effective ways, but our team are working together. If we get everything on time, in place, on the 20th or 27th, we'll run a second blueprint day. We show you again new plasma technology in evolution in one of them. And the other one is the beginning of the starts of showing new structure in Keshe Foundation production. Join us on the 13th at 10 o'clock and you will see what is to come, what is there to come. For the purpose of the what we call new technology, which now is coming as a plasma technology with Keshe Foundation is breaking through, we have opened and it will be operational hopefully by Monday, what is known as Universal Plasma Energy channel on YouTube. We're going into what we call world population, as people can see and people can understand how the next step will be. In a way, a separate channel for this has been established. It's on the process of being completed by the Keshe Foundation team in the background. That is not anymore on the Keshe Foundation channel, but it'll go as a plasma technology, new plasma technology for the world to see. And this brings us a new dimension in our work. Small short videos to show the new energy systems. You will see live on the what we call on Monday, direct reduction. Is not that we made a MATLAB system, you do it. These are the systems, in a way, the new technology, new systems we put out, you will see it cannot be done by man anymore. You need ordinary man on the street, I should call. You need electricians to fit these systems into your system, and you will see the change of it. You will see the reduction in it. These are, as I say, we're going technical, and this allows us to what we call economically commercialize new systems. It's not anymore just plug and play. You have to be careful how you plug it, how you play it, but it brings you a new dimension. We have seen 60–80% reduction, but it has to be done correctly and it takes time. But you see immediately 30–40–50% reduction continues. What we plan to do, as we did before with 129 Tesla, we plan to leave the stations open on Zoom, which you can come at any time and look. Maybe we do it till the following Monday, following presentation of the blueprint. But this all depends how much noise, background noise we have and everything else. So we just switch the noise up and leave you on the camera. Then you can see it live. And we try to meet all the deliveries as they come in through. Those of you who bought different systems from the Keshe Foundation, you'll be optioned to take this, and it's there now. And many of you bought other options. You see, this is much better. I want to do. I have opened a channel for the knowledge seekers who bought the original power units. There's about 60, 70 of them, stayed with us all this time. Get in touch back with the Keshe Foundation, and we make you an offer with a new system. You stayed there for a long time for it to be delivered. This is actually something which now I put my name onto it, and we get it delivered and it's in production. It's not something to be coming, as we always show. We're getting a lot of inquiries about the NECADs. It is what it says, and what is, it's a trial we're trying to run to understand. You got to understand all the trials we did and we do has been to understand how you come out of when you travel in the dimension of the soul, the dimension of energy. What effects these energies will have on your joints, what effects will have on your heart, what effect will have on your brain, what effect will have on your emotion. These trials which we run is not just for sake of you getting in there and doing something. We want to know what it does, what it has done, and what we're going to get at the end of the system. We have seen in this evolution, with what we've been informed by our doctors, using the technology, you remember the two boys? Maybe in the next couple of weeks, you will see the two boys again. There has been evolution in their development, and as I said, we have asked for you to support us with this, and now, after 2-3 months, you will see these boys, the two brothers. It is sensational to see even we can go against the genetic code. As I said to our doctors, we would like to have a genetic test in 8 weeks to see if we have managed through understanding of the plasma change, bring that change to genetic code. Maybe in another 16 weeks, we bring that genetic code change, or genetic code can stay, but we add another code to it that overcomes the present code. Because we see the changes. And these changes cannot come without effectively being able to change the structure of the energy structure of the gene. We have asked the parents to make short videos. Children cannot be seen, but the progress and explanation of what it is, what has changed. To you might not look, but to parents who watch the children going through the process, you know what the end will be in 10 years' time, and see the reversal of what was lost 6-8 months ago is gained back again, is a lot. So we are not here to do anything else but to understand what will happen when you put you into plasma transition from New York to London. What conditions will change in you? We are not in a world of medicine. We are in a world of understanding the changes which the energy gives and takes from you in those few milliseconds, those few seconds from your position of departure to arrival. How does it do with your emotion? You're a drug addict. Does it change your addiction? Do you receive that satisfaction totality forever, that you don't need to have it in the small bursts with cocaine and heroin and the rest? We gradually open the plasma technology in true essence. And then we go step by step. We see how this development takes shape, how we'll see the changes. Then we understand the process. then we see the changes. And then we have to understand how the totality will come. And then we go to further, deeper understanding of it. So join us on Monday and enter with us into a new world and see what we can do. And then we see how the next changes, next steps will come in and will play and display the totality. Are there any questions?
So will that be broadcast to live stream and YouTube as per usual? Or do we do it
Yes, yes, yes.
to be on the usual YouTube channel, not the new one or anything?
Live stream, yes.
Okay.
We'll have Dean in the background with our team, live showing it. And we leave it for you to see as it happens, as it takes shape. The most important thing to us is not the power unit, is more the what we call the new communication unit, the new head unit with its what we call communication pack. This is where actually will come the changes, the new structure, the new what we call communication, and how we break this through down to step by step in the next generation of communications. It'll be interesting in what will be very, very interesting when we give you these new what we call communication packs, these units now you can buy it on the Keshe Foundation store, is when you receive it, and for example, you listen to the teaching of today, what does your soul receive and what does your ear hear? This will be one of the biggest interesting things. Do you visualize a different information, the true information which is given to you, or do you hear the voice? What would the visualization of the graphs on the screen will explain to you in your matter state physical understanding, and what will come as information to your soul? The new units which will come out, which you will see as the head unit and its what we call its power pack, is not for you just to see what they hear. Is for you to start learning the existence in both dimensions. What do you hear? And what does your soul see? In a way, what you do today, you live an everyday life, you run around, but your soul is busy, doesn't sleep, still does its things. You try to cross the road, you suddenly get pulled back and run. Oh my God, what happened? Because the soul was in control of the body. The soul is still active. It sees you. You're crossing the road, the car is coming, I can see the car. The soul of the driver has explained to me or informed me, and I just pull your physicality back. He says, something pulled me back and the car just ran. So this now, in a way, is the first step into that stage. That during the teachings, the knowledge given, understanding of knowledge in the dimension of the soul and in the dimension of physicality. Then you understand what I said from the very beginning of the teaching. When we teach, we don't teach for the man alone, but the teaching, the knowledge sharing is for the whole universe. Then you receive the two at the same time. The beauty of it will be if Your internet falls, but your head unit still works in the dimension of the soul. You're still getting the knowledge. Was it a breakdown on the internet, but the knowledge was gained by the soul? This is a new dimension we're trying to open. We are not interested in how much energy you save. The energy is that carrot to bring you into play. The new communication packs are amazing. And then you have to tune into it, to match into it, to be, because they are created with love and care. They're created, they're made to bring this condition to you. And then you will test. Knowledge Seeker in New York has one, and a Knowledge Seeker in Sydney. I want to speak to him. I can see him on the internet. I wonder how he is, who he is. And then you will establish these communication lines amongst each other. Physically, you talk, but what you could not explain in the dimension of the words will come through dimension of the soul. You always look at the soul feeds you with food that you don't need to eat. Now the soul feeds you with knowledge, which comes from other knowledge seekers, other points of the reference where you need it. Oh, I understood this. Now I discovered. You haven't discovered from now on anymore. You tap into the knowledge of the universe. You become enlightened. This new unit, which is now we put out as a communication pack coming out, you will see it for the first time on Monday. And those of you who know me, I don't usually do things on the 13th. But this time, we broke the rule because this brings that bad luck of man had to live only in the dimension of physicality, and starts a new change. And teaches man how to live. It'll be interesting, those of you who receive this in the first session of the teaching, to tell us in the second session, how was it? What did you understand more? And maybe we run 2 sessions, one in the dimension of the soul and one in the dimension of physicality. You attend the first half an hour of the teaching, there is no word, but the screen is on, the teaching is going on. But we teach in those times in the dimension of the soul. I'm mastering that. I'll get to every one of you in sharing what you need to know in what is your interest to understand. The real teaching will start then where the screen is silent. But knowledge seekers are getting saturated with the knowledge of the creation. And the first step is from Tuesday. We'll see where we go, how you develop, and then how we can develop on the back of it in the coming time. Any questions?
Okay, wordless teachings. That's an interesting idea. I like that. Half hour. People come into Zoom for a half hour of silence. It's funny because we rely on Zoom for communication, verbal communication mostly, sometimes with images and so on, but it's basically about the words that are going on, sometimes music, but wordless.
But you see, as knowledge seekers, unknowingly you've been doing it. We keep silence for 5 minutes and you count it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Universal Council on Tuesday, a lot of this goes on. I've seen it in your teaching. We've done it in a couple of excursions we've done before. So it's not unusual.
Mm-hmm.
So you've already been prepared for it without knowing. Now you're going to the test of it.
Okay, so we have a pertinent question from George Lassie in the Q&A here. He says, I have one Jalal style question. So that means he's got 3 questions. Number one is, if one buys the Cosmic Ray Communication Bundle without any additional comprehensive universal plasma coverage as is it good for anything, or is it just a very expensive piece of furniture?
No, universal compact unit should give you the best start. The energy plasma unit is for a different purpose, and initially it's for the energy, but it has, through its dimension of development, ability to go to the next steps in a different way, in a very comprehensive manner. Then we explain these as they come, as is done. The compact units are one of the most important tools Keshe Foundation has ever put out. And it is what it is, and it'll deliver what is to be done. And we will use this in the future for the next step. It's like when you buy a console. These are the consoles which will be attached to other consoles, and then they grow to what is to deliver, what is to come in. You got to remember, you have to learn how to play with this. You have to learn how to use this. And one of the most important things is when you get this, don't put anything down to, oh, accidentally something happened. Oh, coincidentally something happened. Refer it back to what you did to gain confidence. Accidentally passes your mind. I want to see a friend of mine. I used to go to university 30 years ago, and the phone rings, or something appears about him in the next day, 2 days, 2 weeks. I was thinking about it. It's not anymore. You learn to live in both dimensions. What would I like to see in the dimension of physicality? That the soul can arrange it, but don't abuse it, because the other side of it is the way you'll be disappointed with your own misconduct. In the dimension of physicality of the system, you live the life of man. In the dimension of the system as it's made, you live the life of Mitra. I was talking to a knowledge seeker, telling me lies, and I could see the truth. And I said, what can I tell you? And then a knowledge seeker has a knowledge, but he cannot speak it. And you see it through the dimension of the soul, and you encourage the soul for the word to be spoken. And then the knowledge says, oh, I understood this, but you don't understand sitting in front of me. I'm giving you the knowledge, the freedom for you to speak it. In a way, if I tell you, it's a voice, but if you talk it, it's enlightenment for you. Many times knowledge seekers said with me, and I talk, I can see the soul, I can see the knowledge the soul has gained, but cannot pass it on to physicality. And through the knowledge we have, we facilitate it, and they speak it. Oh, so this is what it is. Oh, now I understand. Because now they explain it to themselves. The enlightenment comes within. This is what I said about in the meeting on the 19th. We, through this knowledge, through this technology, through these meetings, we teach for you to understand what comes from the soul. Up to now, you fed the body. You're waiting for the soul to feed you that you don't need to eat. but now the feeding comes as a knowledge freely in a different way, in a much more comprehensive, in a much more universal way. And then you understand gradually knowledge seekers all become the same. The same in knowledge. Even though the knowledge has been there, the same enlightenment that they all understand. Now what's the next step? As I said to one of our knowledge seekers very recently, we'll have many of you on the moon waving hand to NASA. We are here. Can you send one up here? The system is there. We are training the knowledge seekers in a very slow way. Some knowledge seekers are on the fast track because they have seen more enlightenment, they understand more of the knowledge. And in a way, yesterday was a test day, as I said. We leave you alone. You want to come home, you come. Did you change your mind on the way? Was there an insecurity? Did you understand what you have to do? Last time you put your bait, we put part of your body, physicality in the system to show you this is where it is. That's a beacon. Did you understand that? How many of you on the 19th in the dining with the Creator will come to understand that you're actually feeding yourself through the creation of life and love? You're not coming there, oh, I feel so hungry. It's sharing with the knowledge of creation. And in between, if you like some bananas, we can give you some bananas. We'll have a beautiful test time when it comes on what we call on the 19th. Any other question?
Okay, there's 2 more questions from George here. If one buys the Cosmic Ray communication bundle and later on dies, what would the family of that person do with the Cosmic Ray communication bundle, since nobody else can use it?
If you get in touch, leave a message how with your people you want to be done with it, and the Keshe Foundation will sort out that part. It can be used. We can do other things with it to sort out that part. These units are it's like one soul, one man. And at this moment of time, we have not facilitated for multiple use. In the future, maybe in a year or 2, we'll bring that facility in. Our knowledge seekers have to understand the system that they can produce. It's not just what do you call it, monkey see, monkey does. When you get these packs, if you remember when we sent the first MAGRAPH system out, one of these people who thought, I'm going to show how whatever, because we taught it, they cut the MAGRAPH box and they opened it and they put it in it. You open these boxes as many as you can, you will not understand what's in it. This is not anymore a coil or whatever. There is so much technology hidden in it, universal technology, that you won't even understand. It's like when the Belgians opened the systems I built, and they said it's just nothing, man, because they never had a clue about nanotechnology, about the plasma and the GANS technology and change of plasma fields. To you, it's just this. Make as many as you like. You cannot achieve, no way, what is inside. And that's why I said, if you get a unit, as you have not bought it directly from the Keshe Foundation, don't touch it. Nobody can make copies. A lot of people tried, will try. Oh, I made a copy. You'll see what happens to you. We've hidden a lot of technologies that you cannot physically see. And this will be launched in that way. You have people you leave behind, leave an instruction to get in touch with the Keshe Foundation. We look after that. It will be replaced one by one if they want to use it. Those of you who bought the original Magrav units for €500 from us, get in touch with the Keshe Foundation. You say it doesn't work or it didn't give you what you wanted. We replace it, we deduct that 500 from it, but we want your unit back. Send the unit back to Keshe Foundation. We won't pay your shipment, we don't pay your taxes. Send it back to us. You say you want to replace it, you get a new plasma unit, and you will see your process reduction and the rest of it. But the new plasma unit has other applications which in due course we release as is developed and understood.
Okay, another question about the compact plasma enhancement unit. Does it nanocoat the wires, the walls, and everything in your house, just as the Magrav system was supposed to do? Would it improve the current and gas and water consumption and the health status of those inside the house?
I can answer you in two ways. Is purchase it, use it, and see. Or otherwise, glorified, oh yes, I'll do this and that. We'll let you to report back to us. It's very, very simple. The compact unit is not so much for energy reduction. The compact unit is the introduction of new communication system. And this is what it stands for. It uses, at this moment of time, electric power. Very soon it will be replaced with what we call the gas generators, miniature gas generators inside it that you don't need any power production. The way now our new enhancement units run, the new enhancement units through the development of the technology GaNs to energy. We now, when we disconnected everything from the system, runs on its own, slowly builds up to the power. And this is what will be, what do you call it? What those of you who bought it in second, third quarter will be released. If you came to to Linz, we powered partially sections of the flight unit with power because we could not get the system running on the other side. But now the new systems, or the two new systems which are getting completed, they're more or less wireless. We have no connection outside power to it. We're building it up to a point of running. As I said, on the 20th or 27th, when we go to second blueprint day, we'll show the new technology of the what we call plasma transformers, where you will see a new evolution in the world of electronics. We'll change what we'll show on 20th, 27th. Once it's grasped and understood by the world of electronics and electrical, will change a lot of things. They will bring a totally new dimension, even into cars like Tesla cars. We will see the end of these huge batteries. It's an evolution in the world of science, but the knowledge was shared from one of the first things I shared with public, the torch. Now, that knowledge, now our knowledge seekers understand the soul, the concept of the technology. You will see it as a major breakthrough in the world of electronics and electrical systems. You will understand, if you are in that world, what it means and what they'll create. Things which are impossible in the world of electronics or electrical system, you will see now is possible. And it will show physically. The team in the background are working on it, and you will see it, and it will be commercialized very rapidly because it'll bring a new dimension. We have not developed it because we developed it for the flight systems. It's been developed for the energy systems, and now it's like the space technology. The spin-off was the Teflon. Now the spin-off is a new plasma systems. Many of your electrical systems will change because of this. Many generators, many power stations work will change because of this. The way I see from what is going to be commercialized is governments are planning for another 40% increase in power production in 10, 20 years' time. We don't need to produce any more power stations. We don't need any more nuclear power stations to be added to create the risk on it. By adding these small units in the country, we can replace many, many power generation stations. We will transform the substations and the transformers in them into a totally different application with a little bit of adjustment. Now we create 1 megawatt from one station. We send it to substation and we divide it back into for you to use. With putting these units with you, the power station send us 1 megawatt. As a collective users, we send 4 megawatts back to the power station, back to the substation. And then we produce 5 megawatts. Means 4 more power stations which not need to be produced. 1 second, please. Now you understand the change. These plasma power units, we tell you how to systematically place it, that you not only, still consume the same energy, but you can feed back to the power station equal to what you use. The generator gives you 1 kilowatt. In the house, you use 3 kilowatts. But through using 3 kilowatts, you feed back 3 kilowatts another channel to the station. Now the station has 4 kilowatts to share, not 1 kilowatt which gave you. And then this system, when it goes into the structure, if you understand it, is let the Russians bomb the whole of the power stations of the Ukraine. One station which could be connected to a power supply generator in France can supply the whole of Ukraine. Then do we need earth communication line of transmission? No more. Do we need electrical transfer of energy? No more. This is what these compact units which you receive will have with it. But we cannot explain, we cannot go into the details of it. And in fact, if you think of it, on that part, the beautiful soul of Tesla did it when he put a power station in Moscow and ran a car in New York. The knowledge is unraveled, but in the hand of every man. when I explain to you this compact unit is so fundamental, you cannot even imagine what's going to do in the totality of the system. For the first time, we release in a physical way what Tesla did a century ago. Still, scientists are baffled how he ran his car in New York. Now it's in your hand on your tabletop, but you won't see it, you don't understand it. When I explain to you this is a revolution in the world of technology, starts the 13th. I don't do anything, but it's the end of the problem of the past and a new cycle, new thing. When something bad happens to you, it doesn't stop. It brings a new condition, puts you in another position to take a new direction. And this is what's going to be on Monday. The power transmission, the dream of every man, which Tesla brought a century ago, it'll be on the table, but you won't see it, you don't understand it. Open it, break it, you don't understand because we have hidden it. One of these plasma package unit, if it's known how to be done, can supply the whole city. If you have the right tool on the other end to receive it. Even our knowledge systems are making it, they haven't got a clue what's in their hand. With a small addition, a small alteration, you can supply. We have a beautiful American knowledge seekers, which was, if I put one thing, I bring peace to the other places in the city where she's putting them. That will do that if you understand how to use it, how to connect it, and how to facilitate. And it's on the table. Watch it on Monday. You will see it, you don't understand it. I'm a beautiful magician. And then you understand, go back into the patent. When we talk about wireless lights, you need something to cover the light because the light is always on. At the moment you turn off the light, not to save energy, not to pay extra bills. If you understand how this system works, in a coming time, we give you the other parts of it. You would create systems to block the light because you cannot stop the creation. Can you stop the sun shining? To you is a nighttime because the cover is put on, the other side of the earth has appeared, but the other side see the sun. This is what, it's not something I give you new. It's written 20 years ago in patent. It's embedded in them. Now, the technology, we have taught enough. We have knowledge seekers who understand in 2 or 3 different countries. Now it's getting in your hand. You don't need to understand the technology of the mobile phone, but you just press a few numbers and you get to the daughter in the other side of the world. But the beauty of this time, nobody can copy it. Try your best. If you change yourself to a dog and say, I bought a unit which was supposed to do this, why have I changed the soul of a dog? Sorry, you bought a copy from Chinese. Can it convert you back to a man? That's your problem. Why do I have this problem and that problem? Talk about a copy from China. If we give the copyrighted technology to the Chinese, we put our name on it. Now you understand. The true game of science and technology has started. Those who stole from us in Italy, they'll be running for their bread. Because we teach you how to use every system for what application and let them copy. And if you buy stolen goods, be careful what you get with it. Because the tools we bring in is for elevation of the soul of the man and keeping man and making man a peaceful creation and created thing. Then we see. We don't claim anything. We leave it in your hand, test it in a few weeks, in a few months. Then you tell us what happened, what changes came into the house, what happened with your children, what happened with your wife, what happened with your husband, and why all these came from the time I put this unit in the house. Why there's a unit for my son and a unit for my daughter and a unit for my wife, and the house changes. We tested these things. There's a knowledge seeker. I'm just going to check if it's with us, and I'll tell you. Yes, in the background. By placing Ganses in a different way, we change the environment of the relationship between husband and wife. A fighting house became a peaceful house. Conflicts, the tensions. Because when we place it with love and the love of the Creator in the house to create that love of creation. Many of you have these Ganses in your houses in kilos and liters and nothing happens. Because you have not learned how to tap into the energy. To you are Ganses, to me are source of peace. When I add my love to it, it creates, it gives that love back. The knowledge seekers here, there are 2 or 3 of them who have used this technology in their family. They're in the background. They can come themselves and explain to you what change has brought it. The essence of the knowledge is the soul of the knowledge, not the matter state of the knowledge. And this is where most of you make that mistake. You know this. The child cries, it hurts. You say, let me kiss it better. And a touch of the father or the mother or a kiss of the father, mother, the pain disappears. It's not that it's not the pain is not there. It's the energy, the love which you gave replaced the pain. It's literally that pain pen which we sell you. Your lips, your touch are that pain pen. But the injury is still there. The bruise is still there. And this is what you have not understood about the technology in the Keshe Foundation. You buy a pain pen, the Creator created the touch and the lip of the mother to kiss the pain better. It's not there. And that's what's missing in the knowledge which you carry with all the things you have made. The love, the unconditional giving that you receive from it. Any other question?
Yes, we have a hand up here with Dean. Go ahead, Dean.
Thank you, Rick. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. I think it's still morning. Yes.
If you're still asking a question, 8 o'clock Monday morning, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I will be present. I'm sorry, I was late in today, Mr. Keshe. So I didn't hear the early part. My sleep patterns.
You got YouTube and you got live stream. You listen to it.
I will check it. I will check it out. I was in another dimension when I should have been awake listening, and I was actually having a dream, and I was in contact with most of you, it seems, and you were speaking quite exclusively. So, Mr. Keshe, so I didn't hear the early part. Can you address any informations about the condition we have at the moment in Syria and Turkey? Did you mention that?
We refer to it. Yes.
You
The
did,
condition-
okay. So you've gone into that. So
which part of the condition we're talking about? There's a lot happening in there.
there is a lot happening, Mr. Kess. So all the souls that are suffering at the moment, that are going through traumatic experiences, and I know that many nations have brought people forward to help and do things. How is the foundation actively trying to send knowledge seekers in to help as well?
I've had this question asked from us a lot, and this depends on the knowledge seekers of Turkish knowledge seekers and the Syrians. They are there to deliver. We did the same thing with Italy. Our systems, what is needed is available. They have to arrange and call upon. We have enough gases in the store to supply a lot. But you got to understand the persona that Belgians have created for Keshe Foundation. Now others suffer with it because of it, and they pay for it. Keshe Foundation has enough. We can distribute. You buy it, I think €99 for a 25 gram to distill water or cleansed water for the surface area. We have enough to cover both countries. We have brought enough stuff from China to cover any possible nuclear explosion in Ukraine to support. We already have given access to IAEA for that. When we heard about the accident in Iran last week by the Israelis, Keshe Foundation immediately informed the Iranian ambassador in Vienna. If anything happens, there is enough stock here to support the Iranian any leakage. Exactly what we did in Fukushima. Materials are here, and the new system coming out of Iran, you will see in the next couple of weeks, are there that you can produce mass production in this kind of disaster. But humanity is paying for what the Belgians did with the Keshe Foundation. It's very simple. I've seen the beauty, as I said. I must have received how many communication in the past week showing the Greek soldiers and the Turkish soldiers next to each other, fighting in Cyprus against each other. And when it comes to a disaster, hand in hand. We see the Israelis last Saturday come in a high distance with whatever drones to bomb a military base in Iran, and the planes to help the Turkish are parked more or less next to each other. They see each other in sight. Has brought a lot of things. If you look at the other side, we have the facility technology to deliver. It has to be done. It has to be accepted by knowledge seekers in Italy. There was a council member from Italy, and the rest are here. When there was an earthquake, we submitted, we delivered. And one of the fastest ways we became part of the, what we call the support in the background in Italy. It's there. Knowledge seekers have to take it across.
I understand that, Mr. Kess. Thank you. I do understand that. So, Mr. Kess, the systems that you've been developed, when they get switched on, when mankind gets switched on, how is it going to affect the daily life of a physical being on planet Earth?
Do you want to live a physical life, or do you live a physical life? That depends on you.
It does, yes, Mr. Kess. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. All depends on you. We now facing with a lot of new things. Keshe Foundation is now dealing with the aftermath of the first cycle of Corona. We don't look at the matter state, we look at what energy packs have done to man, and we are seeing the effects of it in the background, in the works we do. The disabilities which is created, the mental conditions which is created, the physical changes which is created. And with our technology, we are facing it. We are introducing, and in the present world of medicine, there is no solution for it. In the world of wellness and understanding of plasma physics, every solution is possible. If we tell you how many people with the problems they didn't even know that is created by corona for them, have turned to the foundation, and through the knowledge they themselves carry, have found a solution with it. Many knowledge seekers, many people around the world, especially very young and very old, got hit by corona. Some of you very soft, some of you had energy levels your body can handle, you just might have a small cold, some of you might have hospitalized. But go back to the original, what do you call it, COVID report. We said COVID is a calcium-based. Its energy is the level of calcium. That's why we saw calcification in the lungs, if you remember. We saw calcification in the womb of some of the knowledge seekers, in their ovaries. We saw them everywhere. But now that the energy leaves, it's like a flu. A lot of diseases, new conditions are appearing again in the calcium. We have knowledge seekers, we have people who went through corona in a very drastic way, or very soft way. Many of you lost your tooth. The tooth just fell out. Many people, because it touches the calcium. When they went and that crown, the top of the tooth comes off. When they go to the dentist, there is no root. The calcium has gone. Doctors don't understand how a tooth has come out. Usually there's even a rotten tooth, if nothing is there. How we see in some people, the tooth from gum out, what we see physically is gone, is going. But we don't see infection in the roots. We don't see infection in the jaw. Not with one or two teeth, maybe 4 or 5 or 10 of them. And only in one side of the gum. Upper jaw or lower jaw. You don't hear about these things outside. Because it's something just they handle. They don't understand it. If you get a rotten tooth to the gum, you should get an infection. You should get all the jaws infected. We don't see it. The roots are inside the jaw, in the gums, but there is no outside tooth. Because the condition of the COVID as a plasma has created that condition. And if you go back into the teachings we done, we showed, we explained when we had the amputation of the toe, we can see everything down. How many times I explained, but we don't see no infection. So we've seen a comparison. We know where it comes from. We see the toe grow, we see the bone, but no antibiotic, nothing is used because the field environment does not allow the infection in the amino acid level to reach to create that infection. But doctors don't understand. They see children with no tooth, but no infection. But the roots are in. The children should cry their eyes out, they are not. Some pain. We see dentists reporting, elderly coming to them, the crown is gone, and there is no root. Root never came out, but where has it gone to? Energy transfer. So you can do the same in a way. You can make what I call, in a sarcastic way, clone of the food and give it to the disaster area in Turkey. They all receive everything they need. And this is what it comes. This is what we have to understand about the application of the technology. Understand it, apply it. How many of you felt sorry for the Turkish people in the disaster, have no food, have no medicine? And how many of you, through the teaching, have learned? You become the satellite, you become energy, food, and medicine to their soul, that they don't feel anything. They can sit in a cold, calm, fed, looked after through the soul, inside out, because you feed. Why do you think we ask for satellite people? You thought there's going to be a light around you. Ooh, I'm somebody. You're still in the dimension of physicality. And you have to learn the application of what is taught. How many of you, when you receive these units, now you know, my brother in New York is sick. I have a unit sitting in Sydney. And I reach his soul through this to give him what he needs. But is he ready to accept? How many of you knowledge seekers have been victimized by your family because they say this is a fairy tale, something, and you're wasting your time, and you get the system and you try to help them, but you can't reach them because they don't want to accept it. And once they accept it, they receive it. You cannot take a horse to the water and make it to drink. It has to be thirsty for it to drink from it.
Mr. Kess, that what you just said there is very. I experienced this very recently. People have even asked these very same questions where I've been making some cups of life and giving this technology and the wisdom and the knowledge behind it. And that very question was asked. I took some water to somebody, and their daughter has corona, and they were saying, what is the water? And I explained a little. And then I said, well, you need to give it as if it's given from you, so that they need to accept it. They have to accept and want to and need to have this themselves. And is exactly what you've just said. So that question was risen very recently, funny enough. Yeah, it's very interesting how that acceptance by everybody on all levels of this technology is the key to it. And it's different for each one of us. And we all experience it in different ways. We are, as you say, we're all trying to take from it the knowledge according to our understanding. And then that equates out to new people that come involved, who at the point of not their demise, but the point of an infection or a corona or something else, they suddenly have that choice themselves, whether to accept or to stay in the old position. And that is entirely to the individual.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. You cannot do anything.
Yeah.
It's so many of you making all these ganses and everything else. You got to stop with the gans. You don't look at this energy. And it's time to play with the energy. I made the gans. You hold it, see what you can see from it, or it's just something white in the water. The amount of gases produced around the world is enough to change the humanity, but man is not ready to accept it, to receive it.
So that's collectively, Mr. Kess, that's mankind not being ready to receive.
It's all kind has to be to receive it.
Mm-hmm. So the cat, the dog, the vertical people, the stones, every soul has to want to accept.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones who understand it, they receive it. Then they go to the next step of it. And everyone takes according to his understanding. No more, no less. No more, no less.
So, Mr. Kess, the other souls are still receiving the knowledge, the that don't speak in a language of man, but are still receiving this knowledge and understanding, being taught, experiencing this?
Of course, because this is essence at the level of the cosmic rays, as you call it. It's my great grandmother used to tell us things and we used to laugh. If you're Jewish background, you understand it. The Jews, especially traditional Jews, make chicken soup every Friday. And the grandmothers used to keep some of it for the whole of the week till next week. And then they threw it away or they mix it with something by Thursday because it was kept for a whole week. Because they believed the soup is cure to everything. You have a cold, you have a soup, chicken soup. You have this, you have chicken soup. You have that, you have chicken soup. Nobody unraveled the secret of it. Why? Now we know. The chicken soup of today for Jewish people doesn't have that effect. It's just a fairy tale. But the Jews who live in the villages and in self-sustained societies, it still does the same. It has the same effect as my grandmother time. I remember I was very young and sick, and my great-grandmother was with us. So telling my mom, give him the chicken soup. He'll be good in no time. But the chicken soup in the cities are machine. The chicken soup in the villages are free, totally free range. Chicken soup in the cities from supermarkets carries omega-6. Not much good in directions you want to get rid of the flu and other infections. The free-range chicken in the village carries omega-3 or energy packs of the special combination plus the others. It's actually a medicine. Now we understand the science. It's the same with the system, with the knowledge we give. If you have a mobile phone, you hear the voice of the man. If you have a compact system, you get the knowledge through the soul, which does not need ear of the man to listen to. It's as simple as that.
I remember one of your teachings, Mr. Kess, sorry to jump in. Well, I remember one of your teachings when you spoke about the ear and you said that the communication is the other way around. Really, it's transmitting as much as it's receiving, more than it's receiving.
But we prefer to be deaf to it. We decide to be deaf to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something having a fear of, but not understanding what it actually does for you. And I always remembered, pieces of life. It's what you carry with you as memories. I used to travel extensively in Russia. Sometimes we had to travel by train. And the first time when the people we worked with, they instructed us to go to somewhere in Kazakhstan, I had the dreaded knowledge of this click. You have to go on the Russian trains. If you've been on them, you know how noisy they are. We were on charge of about quite a large number of people on the train, and I was given my cabin, and after dinner, I thought, how am I going to sleep with this noise all night? 6:30, 7 o'clock, we went to the cabin to wake up next morning. And I remember going to the cabin. I remember getting to bed, and that click noise was the best thing for me to sleep 12 hours or whatever to get to the other side. And I had a knock on the door. Are you going to wake up for breakfast? What I was afraid of was actually what I needed. And it's the fear of the man. That click noise was the best noise to bring peace, to cut everything else off. But outside the train, it bothers us. If you're a passenger inside, it's a comfort. So you have this ear unit. You most probably, I know many of you are going to test this. And I said myself, I was watching somebody doing it this week. It was very funny. They had one headphone on top and they had these wireless little pluggy earphones inside. I said to them, why do you have two headphones together to listen to the same thing? We don't know why. It'll be interesting. Those of you who get the compact unit, you will try to have the compact unit on your head and you put the earphone inside. And then you see what you hear from your mobile phone and what you hear through your soul. Do you want to recognize it and understand it? Is it the same knowledge? Or one gives you the love of the knowledge and one gives you the sound of the knowledge? And which one would you remember, the sound or the love? Fortunately, you as knowledge seekers are those who are going through the first steps of the evolution and revolution in science. And I'm sure in the future, those of you of the younger generation, you tell your children, I had the first unit, compact unit, and this is what they used to do. And then it becomes normal, natural. The way I see it, the compact units you see today, maybe in a few years' time, depends how the evolution goes, you'll buy them off the shelf in a coming time, but once you buy a unit, you have it for life. And it becomes part of you because you learn how to communicate through it. And has no language channel, it has no encyclopedia in it, because you, through it, once you choose, have access to all of it. The Chinese, through the soul, will give you the information without the Chinese language. And next time you connect with the Japanese, the same knowledge is shared without the language.
So, Mr. Keshe, you become the free range. You'll be able to.
You can lay egg anywhere you like. You become a good commodity.
Yeah.
Free range humans.
It'll be very interesting because I know what is to come. But I have a patience, I can sit and watch. I was talking to knowledge seekers. I think they're on the line, they know. I explained something 2 years ago, and it was adopted in the enhancement units, and then now it came out somewhere else. I said, we've seen it, you made it in the physical dimension, now you see it in the plasma direction, you don't recognize it. But it's the same. We created a condition to create it in the plasma, but we made systems for it to create it in the matter state. It's understanding the knowledge and its implication and application. In the very near future, I will teach those knowledge seekers who understand how you create light in the level of the soul of the man. It's like a knowledge of the creation. You're happy with the light on your ceiling. You have to wait and see the light of the knowledge.
Mr. Keshe, is viewable in physicality again, or is this is on another level, the soul level?
You will see it. You saw the light with the interaction with the soul of the prophets. We see knowledge seekers who see the light with the interaction of their souls and their spirit. They call it the first light and the second light. We had 2 or 3 people who went through this in the system.
So, Mr. Keshe, how will this affect theology?
Doesn't exist. You can make as much theology as you like. We're scientists. Let them put everything around it. I wrote to some of these officials this week. I said, don't, what do you call it, crucify us. That's the David the first man who said, what do you call it, the earth is not the center of the universe. It's understanding it. It's enlightenment is not the light.
So that's the same thing, Mr. Kesh, as the mankind receiving this knowledge, the same that this light, this allowing to receive this this knowledge and not staying in a position that was way back then. This is now in this moment, we now have gained the knowledge through, as you said, through science, and we now take it forward to elevate and to establish a new connection, a new plasma.
I go back to something which I talked about in my young age, and I explained it in the science of nuclear technology. And a couple of weeks ago, last week, I showed it to knowledge seekers, but you don't understand it. But for me to know the knowledge, understand it as a nuclear physicist, and understanding the creation of the plasma, understanding the change of phase, expansion of the fields, I believed and I understood, and now we can show what we call one nuclear power station, very small nuclear power station, is good enough to supply energy to the whole of humanity. If our scientists understand what energy comes out of the nuclear material, and if people understand the process of the nuclear radiation, we don't need to build 30 billion, so many of them. We can make a small reactor and reach the same condition as all the nuclear power stations put together. But depends where and what we look for and what we target and what we understood. When we ran the tests on my final research papers in Queen Mary College, and which led finally the closure of the nuclear power station in England, was very simple. And few weeks ago, I saw that again with the same characteristics in the operation of the transmutation of our knowledge seekers. And it was interesting to see where the similarity is and what is actually the explanation of it, and how beautiful the knowledge of some 40 years ago in distribution of the energy in a nuclear power station, and the energy within the nuclear power of the energy of the man, knowing a man carries about 18 Hiroshima bomb energy within it, are the same. And if you recognize it and you can interpret it, then you can see how you can benefit by it. I explain this as what do you call it, the McDonald M in the teaching, in the process of understanding, where we see a dip inside the reactor, but we see heavy radiation energy conversion outside the boundary of the nuclear reactors. And at the moment, in the world of energy, we tap into the what we call the energy inside. We don't look with the energy outside, which is much bigger. What led to the closure of the nuclear power station in London University is the simple fact that we have more energy outside, if we know how to tap into it, it's part of us, than the energy inside us. The explanation of it is very simple. If you, when I looked at this, what do you call it, graph, while we were doing the test, I thought, how can you translate this to knowledge seekers? How can I explain this to the people who are building this system with me? And it is extremely amazing if you look at it, and when you see it, you see exactly what closed a nuclear power station in England, a teaching nuclear power station, and the soul of the man. And the man, unfortunately, only uses what I call the peanuts. We use the crumbs. We don't use the, what do you call it, the actual knowledge. We have not learned to understand the totality. If you look at the, what I call the picture, and understand it, you will see how law, our soul in itself, in essence, our physicality is, and how bigger fields outside which are connected to us, we create, but we don't use. And how we can add to this knowledge, and how we can interpret it in a different way to our understanding. Look at this picture I just put on the system. And if you look in the M in the center, the green bottom is the soul of the man, as we explained before. But that's in the center. You'll see the green in before comes to it on the left-hand side is lagging, and then it leads. Is a taken on one side and is given on the other side. But itself, if you look at it, how low it is. compared to what it receives. And where that does come in energy in the construction of the soul, solar physicality and the rest, and what it leads and gives by order of magnitude. It's the same with the nuclear reactors. In the center, we don't use all the energy. Most of the energy is sitting outside. And is by far outside the physicality of the man. This is what we showed in London nucleus and reactors. In center of London, what was in the reactor was nothing compared to what was, we are contaminating the people in the surrounding. You have to look at this from the top. It's like a huge lid. And the nuclear physicists in the British government understood hundreds of thousands of people were getting contaminated with a high-level nuclear radiation. They shut it. But if you could have tapped into it, you could have used that energy to feed this 100,000 people. If you go to Mile End, there's a small brook, a river which goes right through into Mile End from West Ham by Bow. There's a small brook, water comes down. They built a reactor next to this for cooling system in case of emergency. It wasn't just put in there because of the river, it was put there. And that, they say, if you can hear Bow, you're a true Londoner. Nuclear reactor was right in the ball, center of London. And the radiation was outside, the energy given was outside. If you understand this, and you understand your work of your soul, now you can see how much you can give. Your soul, in comparison, the energy it carries, but it has a power to give beyond it. This is what Christ did. A simple soul in the middle, but expanded the love, the giving beyond his boundary of his physicality. He didn't need to speak, he didn't raise the dead just by nothing, by extending his soul to the soul, beyond his boundary. And this is what you got to do. And he brings a change of phase, enlightenment. There's no theology. When you ask me what theology is going to do, this is a science physically on the table. What you see as a green is a soul of one of knowledge seekers. It's not group of you, it's one man. And we see this M shape all the time when the transition comes. Going outside, coming behind to take as much as possible, becoming humble enough to come low, to be able to give ahead of. For other physicalities, as you see the green carries on, embraces the spirit, soul of physicality, and even the soul of the system. There is no theology in Keshe Foundation. We are pure scientists. We understand it in its terminology. And this M on the left, when it starts, it comes by desire to fly, to transmute, to go through transmutation. Then it comes for our scientists to be able to create that condition prior to M, that anybody, minute they come in, they go through this cycle of transmutation, and you see the graph changes on the other side. That they transmute. This is what is missing, what was missing in our structure of the flight system. Creating that power just before where the base of the M is on the left-hand side. That when the soul desire can take as much as I said to the knowledge seekers and the transmutation person, we don't have the energy to do. The energy has to be beforehand. That it creates when the soul is ready to give, to create that transmutation. When the soul is inside of physicality, you see the Yellow, the red and the blue is under it. And then it moves with that energy gain like a springboard. And now it goes, covers it inside. But it's beyond the boundary of the physicality of the man. As you said, you give the cup where with the love, or you just give a cup in dimension of physicality. You're humble enough to give. But have you put enough energy of love that when they receive it, they elevate? You don't even need to drink it. You don't even need to explain what the water is. They receive it because you still have to learn what part of the soul to put in it. If you understand this picture, if the scientists in the future analyze and understand this frame, you see the whole of creation from being a receiver, being within, to come without and become a giver. And this is a full transmission, full transition of a soul of a knowledge seeker who wants to come from a state to lit. And we see the transition of the soul. We see when the soul within the physicality struggles, and then it succeeds to overcome physicality. The green on the side, on the right-hand side, is the soul which is free. But the knowledge seekers have not learned how to pinpoint it where to go yet. Now, for the first time, scientifically, we can see the transportation, elevation of the soul of the man. When we tell you with the new system, we expand the soul, you can see it here physically. And we can show you 20, 30 graphs. We can make as many graphs as we like to show. For the first time, you see the transition when the soul expands. Where the soul is within, now soul encapsulates there. If the knowledge seekers encapsulates that point on the right-hand side, when the soul of the man encapsulates the physicality, the soul of physicality, and the what you call the soul of the system, which is the point of destination, you can see that space gap between the green lines and the other three on the right-hand side is the energy which is needed to bring the soul from under to over. And this is what was missing. This is what is missing in our transmutation system. Energy supply in the dimension, the strength of the soul of the man, which comes from the structure of the man. Then any of you come in, I can fly you where you want to go. You decide only the bottom point. London, Oxford Street, my brother. And you see it, the maximum time we have is 90 seconds. The maximum time you have to go anywhere in the universe is 90 seconds. No more. Then you have to decide on what level of the soul you want to go low enough to receive enough. If you look at this M, the middle leg of the M where it goes up, you see it has two lower levels. It has to go to that to be able to give. It has to go to that to be able to receive. This is the knowledge of creation in the mechanical system, which the man has created as an oscilloscope. Then you see the gaps between them. What's the gap between the soul and the physicality? Why the soul is closer to the red? And why is it further from the yellow? Why happened? It comes in. Where does the soul and the soul of the system start juggling? Why the soul of the system we created overcompasses all the three? You see the blue line in the middle, M? It doesn't let go. I've encaged you. That's why I expand you. And in that expansion, suddenly the soul is freed. This is what happened to you in the system when you say, I felt nothing. I feel a capsule around me. That green part on the right is encapsulation of the physicality and the soul of the man. And then you go to the next system, you go to gram. Now the system has no control over you, because when you see on the right side, the blue is under the green. It's irrelevant. You go to grandmother, you go to Mars, you go to Jupiter, it's there. And what was missing in our system, and knowledge seekers to understand, is creating a plasma power unit which can create that energy, which in a way I brought a nuclear reactor inside the system, right in the middle of it, that when the soul comes, gets that boost to go through the transition. Energy unit in the system is not just that we have power to run the ganses. Energy system in there is in the essence of the soul. Energy free plasma that it can elevate it.
Mr. Kesh, thank you for that explanation. Wonderful. Just going back, just rewinding a little bit. So you were speaking about the reactors in London and how they were affecting. So and when you become this free energy, you can interact and become the reactor. You can. So what I'm trying to say is, with a thought, if the people had the knowledge, could they have protected themselves? And when I go through various different places physically and in certain situations, I think to myself, I have a where I put a shield around myself. I encapsulate myself with something, and I to protect myself, whether it's in a physicality or whether it's a thought with them in a situation or whatever. So if people had the knowledge, is this the same thing? Is this even just with a thought without the knowledge, would this help?
If you hear about the people going through a wall, or people can go, we have people who can put their hands in your stomach, another person, and just go in and you see the hand disappear, whatever. This is the time when you create an energy in a level that there is no interaction, is equal, that you can go through. Every one of us has that capability. It's not exclusivity. But we have chosen not to use it. We have chosen to stay in the dimension of physical dimension. Any of knowledge seekers, anyone who understands this picture and understand what you said, they can create a shield and they can walk a shield through. It depends on what you want to accept. Many of you stay in an abusive relationship because you choose it. There is something in there that you want to prove you can change it. It's you who decides, I'm walking out of it. It's a condition of mind. It's the energy which I receive in that condition of abuse. This is what you call fibromyalgia. You show it later on, because you cannot break through it. You self-inflict yourself with pain. Anybody has understanding, do the job. You can't do it, we show how the soul can be expanded and see what the physicality has accepted. And then you see somebody walks out without fibromyalgia or this and that, or MS, because you break that through that barrier. Self-inflicted barrier. Self-accepted that barrier.
So that's an emotion, Mr. Kesh. So that's a field strength that we carry in each and every one of us has a different set of emotions triggered by our experiences and our environments, everything around us. And we're all unique, and we all carry a different understanding through, literally through the moment we're born into physicality. We start to experience things, and then we start to build up these layers, these filters from the core, and shield ourselves in the wrong way, if I can say that. Is that part of it?
In a way, yes. I always said when the children were small, the full human being in a small box, in a small body. But the soul is mature, is a physicality who accepts that condition. This is what will be different with the children of Mitra. They're born equal. They're born with the whole knowledge of creation. And they accept no submission, no abuse. Because they don't accept, it'll be equal world. It's what I take, what I need, and I give that what you need. Children of Mitra, souls are born through the same principle, are born equal from the time of birth. Even they might have a physical dimension different than us. It's a big difference. Then you don't have this acceptance of abuse. Because you're equal. When you're equal, you don't abuse. You cannot abuse, because I know what you're doing. This is the difference. This is where the change has come, and the change will come. And the same thing is, I always said, you look at somebody with a fibromyalgia. They call it Parkinson stage 3 and 4. They're bent forward, they're submissive, and the meaning they create is I'm victim. It's like a lion in the herd of zebras. Lion doesn't go for the strong zebra at the front. He waits to see which one is limping, which one is weak, and he goes for it. And when you are in that state of mind with the fibromyalgia, you're sending, I'm a victim, abuse me. And when we see people go through the process with the plasma technology, they go upright. They change. I've done this many times. I always take people who got fibromyalgia before they used to use the system, and after. They're coming bent forward. It's like a gorilla as you see them. They go, ooh, ooh, I'm there, I'm a victim. And after the process, they stand upright. The whole feature changes. Nobody can abuse me. And because the position changes, the mentality changes. They are not a victim anymore. They don't allow nobody to victimize. When you see somebody with these conditions, you can see them from miles. It's that lion waiting to see the weakness. And if you're that kind of people who pray on these things, you always work. And then go, they say, from one situation into another, because you're bent in, you already gave the signal, I'm here, I'm a victim. And then they say, I don't know why this happens to me. And because it's a change of mind, change of condition, it enforced before puberty, they change, they never let nobody and become successful people with it. Because they know what it means to suffer on the other end. The knowledge is available to all of us. It's us who can abuse it or can use it to benefit others.
So, Mr. Kesh, they sort of they elevate, and then the body elevates with seems to physically, it seems to grow and expand. And
Yes, 100%.
mhm.
100%, not even 99%. The knowledge we given and we shared in the world of wellness, in 50, 100 years, they come to appreciate. When we say that there will be no state of Belgium, it's not that we're demolishing it. I'm not Ahmadinejad, there'll be no state of Israel. The people of Belgium will give their passports away. They don't want to be connected to a structure which has been so abusive to knowledge. They'll be ashamed to carry themselves. We don't do anything. We shower it with the love and care. It's them inside. They understand what they've done to themselves and to the others by following the same pattern. They just receive the knowledge unconditionally. And then the blood changes because they decide to walk out of it. Their abusive behavior. You've seen it. We got barrage of attacks continuously by Belgians in past 20 years, 15 years. Be it Red Circle, be it the others we kicked out, be it the government, we tolerate all of it because I know in time the maturity will come and people walk away from it. I can do things that nobody can imagine. But then I'll become Moses. Even in time of anger and distress, I still know what needs to be done. And this is the responsibility of the soul of the man. When you see somebody damaged and hurt, you show your anger, but you don't do anything. But showing the anger doesn't mean you damage. You allow that emotion to wash itself out, that you can handle it, but you don't damage. I carry more knowledge and power than any prophets of the past. And I can wipe out not only a nation, the stars and everything else, because I know how to reverse it. If you go into pattern number 1, I deliberately added in there suicide unit. I can end the life, I can end the cycle, I can end the planetary system just by itself. I don't need to do anything. Open the pattern and read it and understand according to the level of your knowledge. You don't need to do anything if you have my knowledge. I could have ended up state of Belgium years ago. But if we do it, there'll be Belgians all over the world wanting and rebelling and the rest of it. But when they do it themselves, there'll be no Belgium. They become the French, the Germans, and the Netherlands.
Mr. Kesh, it's very sunny here, and the sun is glinting off the side of the screen, and I can because of the angle of reflection, there's dust, and I can see many particles, and it sort of reminds me of your last excursion, your last teaching that was speaking about the love of the Creator, and from the top of the shower to the bottom, and how it covers all of us in each and every moment. So
it's thing where side of the shower you want to be.
Yeah.
It all depends where it comes. But it's in reality, technology has to be tangible and reachable by everyone. One of the most beautiful technologies which is now we see is this mobile phone communication. Villages don't have electricity, but they have a battery and they can be in touch with anybody anywhere in the world. They get on the WhatsApp, they get on the chat, they get on the telephone line. Even there in a little village, there's no electricity, but there's a battery. They charge this thing and they're in touch. And the what I call the new communication system. Now will bring the soul of the man. You can imagine you walk in a jungle and you feel the pain of a lion without ever seeing the lion. Then you can transfer that energy to take the pain away. And that lion, knowing he received the energy from you, passes you without even looking at you as food, because he knows it's you who took the pain away through the soul. It just leaves the physicality away. When you talk about the lamb and the lion in the same bed, that's what it is, elevation of the soul, not dimension of physicality and no hunger.
That was very beautiful the way you just described that, Mr. Kesh. Thank you.
We see the lions as the world leaders and the man as the sheep, and soon they'll all be in the same. And it's the job of the sheep to elevate the soul of the lion. And that's why the 19th and next month and the next month process is up to reach to that point. Any other question? Don't forget, 8 o'clock on Monday.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kesh. Thank you for taking my questions, and thank you for your beauty, Mr. Kesh. Thank you so much.
Everything in the studio is set in perfection for presentation.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Kesh.
Thank you very much. Go and have a look today, tomorrow, and see if you want to change anything with
Okay.
the light.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. I will do.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Yeah, we have John Wells has hand up for a while there. Go ahead, John.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Kesh. So long no see. I can vouch for what you said about the teeth, the broken teeth. When I went over to Mexico 2 years ago, 2 of my teeth on my lower jawbone broke, and I had a big inflammation in my neck, just about half the size of what Shandor had. And nothing brought this down, except when I arrived here at home beside the tank where I have the Gans water. In less than 12 hours, the whole inflammation disappeared, and I had no pain at all. So this is a confirmation of what you were saying about broken teeth. And those 2 teeth are growing back up again. I haven't been to a dentist in the last 2 years. In fact, I never went to a dentist.
You better don't say that. You're very quiet, because there's somebody called Azar as a dentist. She's been looking for this. How to grow tooth. The principle is very simple, is transfer and transmutation of the what we call energies. We have seen people with cancer where the new lump of cancer or whatever appears, and because the soul has changed, will not accept another lump, because whatever is there, and they don't understand why what appeared is actually a cancer cell. After a few days, goes away by its own, because the body won't accept any more cells. The body will not go through that. What is there we hold, but don't allow expansion. And we had that very recently with people with understanding and use of technology, seeing cancer tumors which appear and disappear after a few days. And they just put it as something happened. It's understanding that we can live with a cancer, but we don't need to die of cancer, because it's part of us. There's a reason for it there. The body has learned from it. Why it created it is there as a memory, as I call it. But it's then the soul to decide if I carry this backpack with me or I leave it behind.
And I have another commentary because you were talking about atomic or nuclear energy. I understand the atomic or nuclear bombs are not really atomic bombs. They're an explosion that mushroom is created by what we call 0-point energy. And we just spew some radiation out. In those, we've seen recently several videos with experiments done 50 years ago, where the soldiers were told not to look at the explosion, but they were radiated by the light of the explosion. They saw sort of an X-ray through their hands, but they're still living. There was no real nuclear radiation.
And there is nuclear radiation when you go to certain plasma level, is like cosmic rays. It depends on which angle and what angle it hits you, and what you are, and what you absorb from it. If you stand 2 or 3 people next to each other and put them through a field, like a nuclear explosion, and get them to bend, to stand, or to, what do you call it, take different position. If one of them is in the right angle, nothing will happen. And it's all to do with the positioning, what you absorb, what's the energy level. We see that on the X-rays when you look at the X-ray film. The exposure time, the kV, gives you a lot of these things we understand. You can survive, you can be right in the center of explosion and still survive it. Depends on what field passes you. I have a rule, we always follow the rule. If you see the light, walk to it. If you hear the noise, wait to suffer with it. If you see a neutron explosion in the universe, you see it, walk to it. Let your soul free. You see a nuclear explosion, the light off, don't wait, just walk into it, because the physicality will not take it. Unless you know how to stand, where to stand, and how allow the fields to go through you. We always work on that principle. Because when you speak about the nuclear, when you speak about the light on the ceiling or the sun, this is it's a very mono system. When you speak about a nuclear explosion, it's not mono-energetic. It's a combination of the fields, and this combination of fields depends how it was created, what they create themselves, that given a strength will lock into your body's magnetic fields of gases. And what would they bring? Would they bring evolution in the energy of the RNA, which then reflects itself to DNA? We see what you call genetic changes. Or would it go through, as you say, like X-ray? Because in that point where you were, there were only X-ray level, we can stand the X-ray. But if you're in a combination of the fields, forget about it. You see, you explain words, and as nuclear physicists, we've been trained quite a lot. We get one term teaching about, or we used to, doesn't exist anymore, about nuclear accidents. Nuclear, because as controllers, as physicists, most of us, we are right on top of most of the time nuclear reactors in power stations or research centers. We get trained how to clean ourselves, how to wash ourselves, how to decontaminate ourselves. And then what is the fear of contamination? People don't understand what it means to be contaminated or have the essence of contamination. When they put you against a wall and they wash you with the borium liquid, It's because you've been on the reactor open up, but you don't saw any sign of radiation. The first time happens is horrible. Like the fear goes through. I mean, I'm gonna die. What's gonna do to me? What's gonna happen? And then you go for a few days, for weeks, nothing happened. Okay, something happened. But if you are in the nuclear, it happens. People who are very close to development now, the safety is very, very high. 40, 50 years ago, it was a bunker job. I've been through the wash. I've been washed with borium. I know how it feels, because you stand over an open reactor and you touch plates which you are not supposed to touch without anything. And they don't even enter it into the accident book, because how can a student has access to really hold a nuclear 95%, 97% enriched plates? And then you see it. You have to have the fields in the right way to be able to absorb it, and then it shows, what do you call it, directions. When I came back from Iran, some foolish people claimed that his cancer came because of the exposure in Iran with nuclear materials. We just work with simple radiation. I work all my life. It came from poisoning, which I was poisoned. This radiation, it depends. When we come travel of universe, radiations in this level are nothing. In the dimension of the soul, X-ray and gamma rays of the human level are literally peanuts. When you get into a very high level radiation sources, which they bring elevation, is a different story. You feel the presence of this radiation when you move in the direction of the soul of the Creator. It's enlightenment. It's not the radiation that's to kill you. It takes another peel of the onions that can go more into the knowledge, into the center. Any other question?
Another commentary is, about 50 years ago, I had the opportunity of walking over one of those nuclear tanks where they keep the heavy water with the nuclear or atomic material inside. And the luminescence of that material is beautiful. The light emitted is beautiful.
It's cosmic rays. I mean, if you when you look at it, you see that bluish, ocean blue, silverish color.
Yeah.
Is just thrilling. It's just it depends what kind of water they use. It's like you walk into heaven, I call it. But it's something we are not used to. We see actually part of cosmic light colors. And is elusive.
It's undescribable. Yeah, it's very difficult to describe that radiation, that color, that luminescence.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it many times. It's how we see through the skies. In a way, it's translucent, but at the same time, it's not there. But instead, it's created. If you create a vortex around it, it becomes gorgeous. There it, then being static, it becomes like a fluorescent light, but of the colors we are not used to. Like a lot of memories.
Yeah, it brings a lot of memories to myself also. Thank you very much for all these descriptions.
Thank you very much. Any other question? We have to finish at 1 o'clock today, latest.
Okay. We have several questions in the Q&A. Perhaps you can address Mr. Kesh. From Brazil, from Isabel. It says, after January 20th, during my sleep, I kept a connection with the soul of Muhammad. In this connection, he showed that the main goal of his stay here on earth was the destruction of more than 300 idols in the Arab world for the return to the one God. We Brazilians don't understand very well the development of Islam. Could you clarify if Muhammad's purpose was to unify the fragmented Islam by idols in a return to the one God?
The history of Islam, Muhammad, is very simple. He was a merchant. He was a merchant for a woman called Khadija, where she had the capital in her 40s and he had the youth in the early 20s. And he traveled between Saudi Arabia and Palestine, that line, as a merchant to bring goods. And in Saudi Arabia, they had the statues they worshipped and everything else. When he traveled to the other side, there were no statues, they were still worshipping. But there was no figure. And he saw the Christianity, they had a cut, but there's nothing of the Moses time. Only, what do you call it, conception of the Star of David and the candles as light. And he saw what the difference was. And he brought that to the Saudis, to the Arabs. But being connected and being part of what they believed in the statues, how they did, he had to demolish it, that they had nothing to worship. And they would have understood the next level. Even though some of them, after they destroyed these things, they made their little statues in their own homes. And this is one of the things which now the world doesn't understand, but Muhammad, bless his name, had a reason for it, that he forbid anybody to draw him, that they then could idolize him. The same they did with Christ. They made a figure of cross and Christ. And he didn't want to get there. He wanted to stay in the level of the Jews, where there was no statue, no individuals to worship, that they create a statue out of it. And now in Islamic, in the Commonwealth, people don't understand. They say if you draw the picture of Muhammad, they give you a fatwa, they kill you, and the rest of it we saw in 1990s and early 2000 with one writer. But even the Muslims don't understand it. And the whole reason was to get rid of believing in matter state, but believing in the condition of the, what do we call, creator as fields, as the essence of the soul. And that's all it was. He was a man who became, it's like very much now, you're a man, you go from Brazil to China, you see something you haven't seen in Brazil, you buy it, you bring it back to Brazil, and then you manufacture it, and everybody gets it. That time was about ideology. Now, physically, you do the same. How many of you go to another country, see something new, oh, if I take it back, I can produce it there, we need it there, and you do it. And that's all it was. In essence, I always said Quran is a second testament. You have the Old Testament, the new one, and the third one, but written in a language with a lot of fabrication around it, but in essence of the same. Believe in the creator, not in the statues. And the biggest stone which was brought in to be cut. Now we know it as a stone which they worship. In a way, has become another, but figureless stone. Because if you made a statue out of a black stone, everybody feared because it was dark and it was uncut. The stone was not cut to a statue yet, so it was left. But again, man being a physical thing, this would go around the same stone, the same thing. What he tried to stop, he could not stop. The worship of man in essence of his soul, as Muhammad was his name, but they still circle a stone. Still kept the tradition because he couldn't break it up totally. It would not be accepted. He said this stone is here. He found a compromise with the black stone and the ideology of the people at the time. And then it was abused with the rest of it for those who want to benefit by the prophecies which they made themselves. Any other question?
Okay, we have a question from Marco in our Q&A here in the Zoom. Hello, Mr. Keshe, Rick, and seekers. The subject is about forgiveness. Question: forgiveness given properly and at the right time, if there is a right time, does it have a spiritual reach, even if it is decades and distance?
Depends what you call forgiveness. I forgive, but I'll never forget. And you've seen it with me for years. Still, I battle with the Belgians. This is the characteristics of the human level. But forgiving, unless you don't leave balance, you cannot forget it. To forgive. And do you see as your right to forgive? Or is on the misassumption that you've been done wrong to because you haven't listened to the other side? What was the reason that for you it needs forgiving, but to them it doesn't exist for it to be forgiven? And for some time was a good thing, and then when it's not to your benefit, now it needs forgiveness because you changed the goalpost.
He modified the question and called it the subject is about the cosmic rays of forgiveness. That makes any difference.
Same.
If that makes any difference.
We're looking for forgiveness in cosmic rays. We're just going again the same thing as the statue and the stone. We're just moving it to somewhere else. Let the physicality of forgiveness go. In the world of creation, there is no forgiving in a way as you are used to it, and forgiveness as you are used to. Because everything is balanced, you give and take. Some of the attributes of the Creator we see, it doesn't exist. Only exists in the dimension of the world of the man. And the struggle between his soul and his spirit, or soul of physicality.
Okay, let's go on to a question from Mario from Brazil. Good morning, Mr. Keshe and all. You say, I made man in the image of myself. So are you the creator?
Are you the creator? You ask yourself that question and then you answer it. or you have found the answer. You create a child. Is that child a copy of you, or does he have his own feature, his own intellect? It's the same. We're all part of that creation. We're all created because of being part of it. I always said there's very funny things. I have a gorgeous cousin. She's of a different level of understanding. He says no one in the books ever says that women cannot have many men. It's forbidden for men to have more than 4 wives, or it's forbidden in writing that a man cannot have more than 1 woman. But nowhere in any of the scripts we have that the women cannot have many men. They call it adultery, but it's the same applies to the man. But in reality, if you read any of the holy books, nobody speaks about how many men a woman can have. Read, go through Torah, go through Bible, go through Quran, whatever you want. It says a man cannot have more than 4 wives. A man can have only 1 wife. A man can blah blah. And they call it adultery if you have with another one. But never says how many men a woman can have. Technically it's correct. But now, in the world of creation, of physicality, woman only gives birth. In the world of creation of the soul, when your soul finds this dimension and becomes the creator of new souls, do we have a female universes and a male universes? Or does soul of the man in a dimension of the creation gives birth to new lives as well? This is a very simple, not a question, but a reality that you'll understand and how it works. And is our soul male and female soul? Or do we choose in the dimension of the soul interaction of what we call twinity, balance fields, that in the interaction of them create the children of the universe, new souls? So in the dimension of physicality, women only give life. Answer yourself. Does it apply in the dimension of the soul, where you don't know the difference between the soul of the man, the king, the animal, male or female? So these are the things that mankind has to find a lot of answer to and then come to accept through science, through reality, not through philosophy and theology. And then, do men give birth? Or do men create the soul of children? Or the spin-off of their interaction creates their own children? Or lives, not necessarily children. New souls. And the answer is yes. Definitely yes. We don't see female planet and male planet. We don't see female stars and male stars. It's just to understand the structure of the creation. And not with dogmas, but reality, scientific. Any other question?
Mario goes on to say, and if we cannot kill to feed ourselves, so why do we have mouths and stomachs?
It's the man way of doing it to find an easy way with the pleasures of the rest. Very simple. Very, very simple.
And you mentioned that if we learn to feed ourselves without killing, we might end up losing our mouths and stomachs, like if we go to space, for example.
Yep.
Okay, from
think-
Renate. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the last question, because I have to get going. I have a meeting.
Okay, this is a question about the from Renate. Hello, Mr. Keshe. I have a question. Has the Universal Council already made a decision on how to proceed within the Keshe Foundation? Further development with devices on the physical level or on the plasmatic level? Thank you very much for your information.
I do not know.
Perhaps it's a question for the Universal Council, actually.
That's what you.
Let's have a quick answer, perhaps, on the following question from Gerhard, which has to do with the cosmic ray plasma communication unit. Can my wife and I use the same unit?
Surely not.
And if we each have our own communication unit, do I also need two compact plasma enhancement units, or will the headphones work with one compact unit?
This as a set. You use one compact unit as a transmitter, but you never share your head unit. Never.
So
that's why we offer the headphones separate, yes.
So the two people can use the one plasma enhancement unit is what you're saying, I guess.
Yes, in a way you will you will understand this. You establish that condition with it. It'll be understood very fully why. It's like, in a way, you have a satellite. Everybody goes through it, but the headphone belongs to you.
Mm-hmm. Or when you go on the airplane, they hand out headphones, but they don't reuse them.
It's the way it's very much, if you understand later on, you tune the plasma to a certain strength of system with you. It's like a pen, as we advise, don't use a pen, don't share it. It's the same if you understand the structure of the work of the plasma and the systems you use.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. And I hope we should be able to share. Join us on Monday, and hopefully we open a new dimension in the world of energy and communication. And we'll see what is to come for us in the coming time. And hopefully the following Monday or the following Monday after that, we'll have another Blueprint Day to introduce 2 new technologies and what we already know, but in a compact way, to see where we're going. And as I said, the systems which will be demonstrated on Monday are in production line. You will see as we demonstrate. Thank you very much for today. We have to leave you. I have to be somewhere else very soon. And hopefully we see you on Monday and share more. And for anything else, just go through the Keshe Foundation info. We try to share a lot of knowledge and understanding. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you for today.
Thank you.
And we meet on Monday, hopefully. Thanks very much.
Okay, also following on that same Monday, we have our testimonials, public meeting for testimonials, which starts at 8 p.m. Central European time. And so we have the blueprint day starts at 10 a.m. and then the testimonials will be at 8 p.m. So we'll see how long the blueprint day teachings go, and there'll be some interval in between. So people are invited to go to the testimonials meeting and share your experiences of the plasma technology. And it's a great way to pay back for receiving the knowledge, to share it with others. And we have many testimonials already lined up, but we love to hear live ones from people, including videos or pictures. Okay, I think that's it for that. Yeah, we look forward to an exhilarating Monday with new devices and some new information. Okay, everyone, thank you for attending today's 471st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 9th, 2023. I'm going to go out with the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit this time around. And we'll see you all in the next public teaching workshop. Bye for now.
The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists, and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here.